Before visiting Manila, I had some conversations with locals and expats who were living in Manila for a while. I read some brief history of the Philippines, watched YouTube videos, and later I understood that my preparations were not enough. So before I understood this, my expectations about Manila were 6 from 10. The mark for something that I think I would not really enjoy, but with relatively high probability that I can be wrong. I hate not being prepared for the trips, but it also allows me to experience more unexpected things. Firstly, I underestimated the size of Manila. If you Google Manila, you can find data from Wikipedia with reference to the United Nations. It says the population of Manila is 1,780,000 people. But then I discovered metropolitan Manila, whereas the city of Manila is one of 17 other cities, and you can't distinguish it inside the Metro Manila without additional signs or maps, because in reality it is one big city with the population of more than 13 million people. You can definitely feel it in the roads, but not on sidewalks. And sidewalks are not really prepared for pedestrians. It can be really hard to cross the road if there is only a crosswalk without any traffic light. The majority of drivers will not stop if you are about to step on the crosswalk. They also don't use blinkers on the road. I was interested to understand why. And I was told it is because another driver will speed up and not let you go. It sounds especially strange when you speak and deal with Filipino people. It looks like culturally they are open, helpful, respectful, but not on the roads. And the transport system of Manila is not really developed as you can expect from such big city. Traffic jams are something you can definitely expect from Manila. They can be not that tough, but embracing a huge area. So it takes time to get from point A to point B. The same with the flight from Europe. My first journey to Manila was especially long. I left the place where I lived at 5 a.m., drove to the train station, left the car, then a few hours of train to Madrid, then a train to the Barajas airport, more than 4 hours in the airport, then a flight to Doha, almost 3 hours there, and finally the flight to Manila. And in my way back, I flew to Barcelona and waited for 6 hours for the flight to the airport close to the place where I had lived back then. So it can be quite a journey if you don't live in a big popular for international tourists city. In respect to the flight, if you go to Manila from Europe, I would advise going with Qatar or Emirates, because then you have a layover approximately in the middle of the journey. These options are also cheaper than Turkish Airlines. With my first flight to the Philippines, I used Qatar Airways, and with the second flight, I used Turkish Airlines. About that trip, I will make another video. With the layover in Istanbul, it was a really long flight to Manila. Also, the food was worse, and flight attendants were not so gentle and polite. Anyway, in case of the Philippines, especially when it's already cold in Europe, it is worth it. Despite I started with some negative, there are a lot of positive things in Manila. Let's start with food. After my trip to Manila, I gained more than 3 kilograms in less than 2 weeks. And it is not just the local cuisine. One can find a decent choice of Thai, Chinese and Japanese cuisines. And obviously, rice is everywhere. You also have to be aware about Jollibee. It is a Filipino fast food restaurant chain. I can't say anything specific because in their menu there is almost nothing that I eat, but it is highly popular in the Philippines. Also, I had been in the seafood market in Pasay. There is a tremendous range of fresh fish. One can buy it and cook at home, but there are also a number of local restaurants inside the market that may cook what you bought there. You can actually see a big amount of sea farms near Manila from the plane, so I can assume that all this seafood is from that farms. But at least it hasn't been frozen before you buy it. In Manila you can feel this is a city that really never sleeps. The roads are full even at night, and the nightlife itself is highly developed. There are different places where it's the same or even a better quality level than you can find in Europe with better service and it costs less. But you obviously need someone local to show you the right places. Manila is very different. Cities inside the Metro Manila have different vibes, different architecture, different people. Of course, there are historical sites like Fort Santiago, built in 16th century by the Spaniards. And in general, there is a historic area called Intramuros, so basically inside the walls. During the times of the Spanish Empire, this area had been considered as Manila. Now it is a nice area to spend some time and to see how the Spanish architecture aged with different environment and climate. Because Catholic churches similar to Manila Cathedral you can find in many Spanish cities, but it feels different in this environment. Also, just outside of Manila, there is amazing nature. Tagaytay with its unbelievable, magnificent view to Taal Lake. And actually this lake feels Taal volcano. This is not just volcano. The volcano is active with the last recorded activity on January 2022. If you are in Manila and you have one day, visit this place. It is 50 kilometers away. Okay, so what are my conclusions about Manila? The city is worth to visit, and it is a must-visit place if you have someone who can show it to you. It is different from Europe. Probably for someone the difference is positive, for another people the difference is negative. But the way it feels can give you the contrast to perceive Europe from the new angle. I rate Manila 9 from 10. You should visit it at least once.